appreciate the players, but not the people who made those god-awful uniforms. This is Corey, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. It is 2:34 Pacific. That makes it 5:34 Eastern. And the Anthem podcast is live from coast to coast, coming to you from beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California, high above the 110 freeway, from the hashtag OTA LA studios. This is episode 177.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The numbers just keep climbing.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a part. And thank you for telling people, sharing, rating, doing everything that you do. We appreciate every little bit of it. And yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
We're ready to go.
And we got a lot to get to this week. It has been a busy week. But there is one thing.
Almost hard to believe that this has been 1 week of time.
I know.
The amount of things.
We started off this week on a Sunday fun day that was a little too fun, and Rob was woke up still drunk on Monday morning. Are we fixed? There we go. Yeah.
I'm just making sure it's good.
Here we go. Yeah. There's Corey live and in person. Yeah.
Hey.
So yeah, so if you don't know what we're commenting about, that's because you're not watching live at facebook.com/OD Anthem, where you can watch us live every single Saturday. So make sure you check that out. Go to the Facebook page, click the notification tab, so you make sure you get a notification every time we go live. But of course, the episodes are available at youtube.com/OD Anthem, so you can see the video every single week as well. But yes, the week started out with Rob waking up after Sunday Fun Day, still drunk on Monday morning, very tired, and then going and staring at the sun for a little while. And the week just went downhill from there. I don't think it got better. But I did want to talk about one thing before we get into the issues of the week. We had the opportunity to go see a fantastic movie on Tuesday.
Yeah, and the one you fought me on.
Yes. Yeah, well, no, I wanted to go see Dark Tower, and I think that a lot of people are going to go see Dark Tower, and I really want to make fun of it because there's no way you could tell the Dark Tower story in 97 minutes or whatever it is. And it also started at 9:10, not 10:18 or whatever the ridiculously late start time was, but worthwhile to go see.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love Aubrey Plaza.
Burying the lead. We went to see Ingrid Goes West, which was fantastic. And you sold me on it because I'm down for Aubrey Plaza. Whatever it is, I'll go see it.
And I said, by the way, if I tell you years in advance that somebody is going to be a big star one day, you listen to me. All right? Because I said it about Elizabeth Olsen. I saw Liberal Arts on a Plane, which was a movie that she did early on.
Right.
And the first I saw of her, I was just like, wow, this girl is incredible.
Yes.
She's going to go places. And
she's going to surpass those sisters of her.
Yeah, and then I found out that she was a sister of the Olsen twins. Mm-hmm. And people were just like, what, an Olsen is a great actress? I'm just like, trust me, believe me, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And it was. So there we go.
And she showed up in this movie. Yeah. And so the better part, I think the movie itself was fantastic. And when we got home, we did the thing that we always do, which is, a little bit of pulling it apart and just saying like, I would have done that differently or that differently. But overall, a very good movie. I think though that the bigger impact was kind of what I slept on, and then the next morning, kind of the feeling I had about
and then
how
started a mini internet revolution on.
A little bit. I mean, people have been posting pictures all week and tagging me in them and Snapchatting me pictures and Facebook messages. It's been fantastic. But go over to Instagram at Robert N. Cheek and you can check it out. We are trying to start the hashtag real life, not IG, where you don't take 30 pictures and pick the best one.
Yeah.
You don't worry about the fact that the background has to be perfect. Just show people what your real life looks like and put it the hashtag real life, not IG. I started out by taking a picture of my dirty room, which is even dirtier right now.
Well, yeah, because everything that was on this desk is now on Rob's bed.
Yeah, so if you see that picture from Wednesday, everything that was on the desk, which increased as the week went on, is now on my bed. So the room's an even bigger mess. But make sure you check that out. And basically what I want people to do is to have a thought about why are we pruning our lives for people whose lives are just as messy as ours? Like we go through this whole song and dance, and it was inspired by Elizabeth Olsen's character, I guess her husband more than anyone else, but who's just like, you don't understand how exhausting it is to be perfect all the time. Where it's like, oh, take another one, take another one, take another one, take another one. Okay, that's the one.
Yeah.
And
I know all about that life.
Oh yeah. you live with Rachel for 1 week and you'll be like, okay, so yeah,
we've had enough pictures.
I've had enough pictures for the rest of my life. But it's a comment about you're pruning your life so that everyone thinks that everything is great. And sometimes things just aren't great. Sometimes life is just life, and we're all in that. And why are we doing that for each other? Let's show some of the dirty parts of our lives. Let's show some of the not so great parts. Today, I took a picture of me fresh out of bed, bags under the eyes, hair a mess as much as this length of a hair can.
No makeup,
no nothing. Just looking tired and like the sheet marks still in the side of my face. But I would never do that before because I spend so much time pruning an image for people. But why do we do that? There's no reason.
As a side thing, I've been completely off topic. I've been falling asleep with my hands underneath my face, and then I wake up with them like all like sore. Like they've fallen asleep during the course of the night.
Yeah.
And I wake up and I'm just like, oh God, is it going to be like this forever? And then 20 minutes later, I'm fine. But like
the heart attack, that's why you're waiting for the heart attack to happen.
Yeah.
And one thing we're worried about happening is that one of the fighters today is going to have a heart attack in the ring.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, well, it looks like Vegas is a little worried about it because if Conor McGregor somehow pulls out the fight today, it is going to be the worst day in the history of Las Vegas.
Especially if Conor McGregor knocks out Mayweather in the first 4 rounds.
Yeah.
That's like the doomsday scenario.
And keep in mind, Conor McGregor has spent his entire career fighting 3-round fights. You give everything that you've got for 3 5-minute rounds. Now, I'm assuming, and you made a good point, he's been training for a 12-round fight now. From the moment that there was an inkling that this might happen, I'm sure he was like, all right, I can't be gassed in round 6. I got to...
And not only this, I mean, there is a substantial age difference between McGregor and Mayweather.
Okay, yeah. Substantial... I think once you get out of your 20s, the differences are
but
negligible.
Isn't Mayweather like 45 years old at this point or something?
No,
like
he's
that?
definitely in his 40s. But, I mean, Conor is a beaten, like, late 30-year-old. So, I mean, I think essentially...
I'm going to have to get confirmation and stuff like this.
So you were going confirmation. But in the end, the odds right now, Corey looked him up just for
Floyd is 40.
Floyd is 40, and I think Conor is probably like 37, but a well-beaten 37. He's not like Floyd, who's ducked and jived for his entire boxing career and then won technical fights. But...
I'm going to put it this way. As somebody who lives in Los Angeles, I hate fucking, by the way, he's 29 years old.
Good God.
So there's an 11-year age difference. I knew there was a big one.
That's a rough 29.
As anybody who's lived in LA can attest, I hate fucking Floyd Mayweather. Because, by the way, he's doing this fight because he owes the IRS like $600 million or something like that.
And maybe the purse is going to cover all his back debts.
Yeah.
And then whatever he makes in everything else, he's not going to pay taxes on. So we'll get another fight in like 8 months when they come after him again.
When he fights a lion or some shit.
Yeah.
Just for
hey, what's his name?
Mayweather lion.
Michael Phelps swam against a shark. I mean,
but not really. I mean,
yeah.
The all you have to do is see 15 The Money Team buses come rolling down the 110.
Yeah.
By the way, they got people on both sides of like this huge gauntlet of money team vans.
Yeah.
That like do what the cops do and like go across all the lanes of traffic.
Kind of shutting everything down.
Yeah. Just to allow Floyd Mayweather to go it's stupid and I hate him. I just like I miss the days where boxing was knock the motherfucker out.
Yeah.
And not like avoid contact as much as humanly possible.
Which
like,
and it is in a lot of fights, but that's not how Floyd Mayweather fights. Manny Pacquiao is I'll take a few on the chin and I'll beat you senseless, and whoever's left standing at the end is left standing.
Everyone was talking about Pacquiao and Mayweather the first couple rounds of the Pacquiao fight.
Who was injured? Pacquiao was injured.
I thought he fought better.
Yeah.
But like every single time they'd go and like look at the card, it'd be like, oh no, Mayweather's got another round. I'm like, how McGregor or Pacquiao had more hits.
Yeah.
Had more direct hits.
Yeah.
Made Mayweather was just running around looking like an idiot.
Well, but
and
that's
Pacquiao,
the difference between us watching a fight and a boxing
I know it's stupid.
Watching a fight is exactly that.
Boxing is it needs to be fixed. What's great about UFC is there's one UFC.
Yep.
There's many different MMA companies, but there's only UFC is where you want to be. Just like if you're a baseball player, you want to play in the majors.
Bellator is picking up, and Spartan is picking up. And it's getting to the point the UFC is like talking about making a bid on Bellator to make it like the minor leagues of the UFC.
Yeah.
So I mean, like there's growth,
but there's not 75 different boxing commissions that like
and
each have 15 belts.
I was gonna say you don't have Floyd Mayweather who carries around like 9 different belts from all the ones everything that he's won.
Yeah.
So, but it'll be an interesting fight. And like I said, Corey looked up the odds, and right now, if you were to put $100 on Conor McGregor to win, you would get paid back $5,000.
Yeah.
It's like 490 to 1, which is ridiculous. And then the reverse, like if you put money on Mayweather,
it was minus 380 for McGregor and plus 490 for Mayweather.
Other way.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Other way, yeah. But no, so that means you would have to put down $400 to win 100 on Mayweather.
No, you'd have to put down, if you put down $490, then you'd make one.
Right. And if you put 100 on McGregor, you would win 5,000.
You'd win 37.
Oh, I thought it was plus 490. Plus 490 minus 370.
If you put 100 down, you'd win.
You would win 4,900.
Yeah, 4,900.
But you get your 100 back as well.
Right.
It'd be 5,000 altogether. Yeah. So we're about to go drive to Vegas. No, I'm just kidding. There is like I said,
how much fun would it be if we put in like late bets on this, and then it finds out that Vegas ran out of money, and like we're
first in gets first out.
First in, first out.
We don't even have the 100 to give you back. Sorry, guys.
That's how gambling works sometimes.
You looking for a hotel? I mean, we got plenty of those left. Everybody rolled out of town. Like, actually, like in a couple of weeks, could we cash this? I'd like a really nice suite in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So we'll see. We were gonna go watch the fight somewhere, but LA is ridiculous, and everywhere has covers of $20, $30, $40.
Yeah.
So that's okay. We'll just watch the knockout on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like 15 minutes after it happens.
Yeah.
If we can't find somebody who's streaming it live illegally and just put it up on the screen.
Well, I wouldn't be any part of that, clearly.
If it's on Facebook Live, watching it does nothing. And we're glad you're joining us right here on Facebook Live for what it's worth. So a lot of
If it makes you feel better, I'll knock Rob the fuck out right now. And that's... I love that face. I love that face.
Let's just see how that works out. I mean, last week we spent a lot of time reenacting the infamous fight. My shoulder still messed up from all that fake fighting.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so a lot of stuff happened this week. So I want to get through some of these topics. We said at the opening, the eclipse was less than a week ago.
This week. Jesus Christ! It honestly feels like it was 1,000 years ago.
It does.
With the way things go these days, and the news traveling and
everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So Corey and I stepped out. At like 10 o'clock ish, a little after 10. We didn't have totality here in the Los Angeles area, but we had 50 to 60% coverage. And Corey literally looked twice, and he was like, yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going back up. That's I saw it. That's fine. And then I saw Rachel's office. There's like 90 people outside. Everybody's staring at the sun for an hour. But I will say.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I wanted to be part of the group. I wanted to actually see it.
I saw it. Yeah. I saw it.
And I wanted to be a part of the moment. But at the end of the day, I don't really care about the view of the eclipse through the glasses.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as big of a deal when you're looking at it as you think it will be.
Yeah, no, it's
prior to it.
You're actually looking at the sun. That's the important thing.
I'd much rather just look at professional photographs of the eclipse.
Oh, and there were some really good ones. Oh,
and
man.
the totality eclipse and stuff like that. I mean, I'm fine because I only had to walk out into the courtyard to see it.
Yeah,
that's fine. I'll go out there. I'll have the glasses.
Would have been better if we could have gone.
Cost $3 or whatever, but I'll go out. I'll look at the sun for a few minutes. I'll come back in, and then I'll be fine. Yeah.
But your brother went all out.
Yeah.
Driving to Oregon.
Yeah.
And camping out and doing the whole nine. He had some amazing pictures, and I'm sure it was an experience. But I'm with you. I don't know. First of all, there's going to be another one in 7 years.
Yeah.
But
this one goes
Texas to Maine, basically. So it's not across the whole country. I get that, but you know what? We didn't see it in L.A. and people didn't get totality in Maryland or Massachusetts.
I'm not.
So.
I don't want to. That's the thing. Like so I went to Hollywood Boulevard in front of the Pantages a couple weeks ago when they were doing the opening of Hamilton.
Yeah,
because they were going to have a little performance on the street to celebrate the opening and everything like that. It's a Broadway tradition. And I went out there, I stood out on the street for 5 hours, and then they performed for like 10 minutes, and none of them were songs from Hamilton.
Yeah,
it was just songs about California, which I could have done at home and not have stood in Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
For 5 hours.
But you made it onto the Instagram. For
yeah,
Hamilton.
At least I was on I'm on the Hamilton Instagram now, so there we got that going for us.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I just. I'm at the point in my life now where I don't want to go through the extra effort for something that doesn't seem worth it. You know.
I mean, they had
like I wouldn't if I lived in Oregon.
Right.
I don't know if I would have gone to one of these places where people were doing a viewing because there was like talks of like 3 hours worth of traffic to get in and out of.
You would have been like everyone on the Eastern Shore every weekend of the summer. Like I fucking hate these people who are coming in here just for the eclipse. Whereas, we talk about beach traffic and chicken hackers every weekend. It's like, go home. Just all of you go home. I can't get to the grocery store because of you right now.
Yeah.
But, like I said, there were some fantastic pictures.
Or if there's like a Dodger game and I can't get cigarettes.
Yeah. I can't get down to Sunset at all. But yeah, no, there were some fantastic pictures. Brendan took some great pictures, and I saw a lot of great pictures from Totality. And I don't know that seeing those are any different than seeing it in person. In fact, they're probably better than seeing it in person. Those people with like the great cameras that are seeing the moon itself, like the intricacies, the valleys, and the Mars of the moon, and in the backdrop is the corona.
So I mean, like I think part of the deal was that the reason why Brendan was there in the first place is because Kat's parents work in telescopes. So they already have a predisposition to
go see.
It'd be like if I'm a humongous boxing fan. Like I would definitely pay the money to go see.
Are you paying the $150,000?
No, but I'd pay like the $100 cheap seat, like.
Or the spillover area in the GM where you're sitting in a room in the building, but elsewhere watching it on TV.
Right.
Yeah. No,
that ticket will only cost you $500.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I don't know. I wonder what the cheapest seat to get in the room right now is on StubHub. I mean, you can look it up. I imagine that it's gonna be ridiculous. But yeah, no. So I guess if you have your predisposition to that kind of stuff, I mean,
part of the problem too is that like if we left right now, we probably wouldn't get there in time.
No,
unless we
it's 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
so we wouldn't get there till 7.
6 o'clock is the fight, right?
Yeah, no, we wouldn't make it in time. I think. Well, yeah. Is it 6 Pacific?
Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. Let's see.
Yeah, no, it's 10.
They got things for the pre-fight parties, watch party.
It's 10 Eastern, so it would be 6 Pacific. Or no, it's 9 Eastern. So
yeah, they don't even have the actual thing up anymore on StubHub.
Can't get tickets to the fight. So
it's just. Oh wait, nope, found it.
Here we go. So now you're listening to this on Tuesday.
So just one ticket.
Yeah.
Lowest cost $1,500.
Sure. Yeah. Corey and I are going $3,000. It's money well spent.
But these are 11 tickets for $2,200 each. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sure.
I wish I would have thought about that when I was growing up and thinking about the things I could have done with my life, because getting punched in the face for like $700 million or whatever it's gonna end up being for.
All I'm saying is you could still do it. I mean, like Rocky is the story of a 40-year-old guy who just makes it. So,
right.
I mean, you just have to get in. I mean, you have already claimed that you could do Ultimate Beastmaster. So clearly you're in good shape.
I could just be the new Butterbean.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you could take a punch like him.
I could be a big fat guy in the ring. That's for sure.
It doesn't work though if you take one punch and you go down. You have to be able to take a punch. That's the whole thing.
Take one punch of the mic in the ring, picks me up, go like, owie! Ow! Stop it!
You come out, you touch gloves. Oh!
Can I get a medic?
Man.
Can I get a medic?
Throw that towel in. I'm done. No, none of that. Anyway, so enough fun.
Technically being here is enough, right?
Enough fun. Fun. We have to get to more depressing things. Like this week, we have reached new lows when it comes to when it comes to the government. So we have been holding back on this topic because we had been waiting for. We didn't want to do too much reactionary stuff, and a tweet is not government policy. But this week, Trump did sign a policy change, which meant that transgendered soldiers will not be admitted to the military, and that the Department of Defense should find a way to get those who are currently serving out of the military.
I think the what I read at least, and maybe I'm not fully in on this, but no new transgenders is rule number one, and then figuring out at what point in military readiness current transgender people are at.
Yeah.
So I mean, like if you're transgender but you're ready to ship out tomorrow, then you should be okay.
Right.
But if you just signed up and you're like about to go through medical procedures and you won't be ready to join a fight for 6 months or whatever,
probably gonna get shipped.
You're gone.
Yeah. Honorable or general discharge, and
I can't imagine they would dishonorably discharge people for that, but who knows? Who knows?
I would say the same thing, but then this is a president that you're never sure what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And in reality, what happened is that the president rolled back and this is the best part of it. He rolled back a 2016 change in policy done by Obama, which allowed transgendered people to openly serve.
Right.
And because not even this policy can be something that he does on his own. No. This is really just undoing yet another thing that Obama did.
Right.
And that is all of the successes he continues to talk about. They're really just rolling back things that Obama has done. And this is not any different than that. So,
and by the way, Trump is taking credit for the tremendous economy, and he's not even on his own budget yet.
He doesn't understand how economics works. That's the problem.
Number one, I'm just going to point this out for people who are unaware. If I were elected president today and I put in some major policy initiative to try and change the economy, you wouldn't actually see the benefit. You would see small little benefits of it pretty quick.
Yeah.
But the totality of it, if you say like, wow, the economy is really booming, it has to do with something that happened like 8 to 10 years before.
Not necessarily. It could have been 2 to 3 years ahead of time, depending on what it was. Like the cars or the Cash for Clunkers program, they said that really rolled over economic growth in about 2 years.
Yeah.
But that's because we had all of this stock of cars that were just sitting there.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, people are buying up the cars. And that means we have to make more cars. That means more jobs at a plant, actually producing cars, and that's great. But when you're talking about tax breaks, those do take 8 to 10 years to really get going. So all the Bush tax cuts that were look how great we're doing. No, that was Clinton in 97, and his name escapes me now, the head of the Fed. Greenspan, who engineered the soft landing. The first guy who had an entire decade where there was no boom and bust.
And you can also, people talk about how things were never better than during the Clinton administration as far as the economy and stuff like that. But a lot of that happened because of deregulation during Reagan. Reaganomics allowed for a business climate where Silicon Valley was allowed to explode.
Yes.
And if there had been, if whatever, no matter what you think of Reaganomics, because it certainly had its like pros and cons.
Sure. Yeah.
The availability of Silicon Valley to just explode was one of the biggest benefits of it.
And that could have been done by not deregulating the entire economy, which is what they chose to do.
Right.
And that gave us also the things that led to the crash in 2008 and 2006 and 2011 and everything else.
Yeah.
But by going in and saying, we're going to loosen up the way that you can invest in other businesses.
Or regulate what a startup looks like.
Yes.
Because before, a business was a business and required business taxes regardless of whether or not you had 0 employees or you had 100,000 employees. And Reaganomics made the 0 to 100 span of employment way easier for businesses.
And that is what made Silicon Valley look so good. And they also changed the way that round A, round B, round C financing works, and how those rounds turn into stocks if you ever do it. Public offering. Like, these are all good things, and I will agree that there are good things about Reaganomics, not the things that all of you crazy people like to talk about.
But real quick, you and I just had a minute and a half, 2-minute conversation about economic policy, where we talked about like the various idiosyncrasies and things like that.
Yeah.
When have you ever heard Trump have a in-depth conversation about the economy?
Not at all.
He's a businessman.
Yes.
He has an MBA. He has, he went to
the
Wharton.
best schools.
Yeah.
He's
I'm saying he's never come out and said like, all right, let me break it down for you. Here's really what happens with the economy. Like he's never had one of these moments, and that should terrify you because.
But getting back to the topic,
because look forward to 10 years from now when the entire economy collapses because of something Trump decided to do on a Wednesday because his polling numbers were down.
Well, and this is what I hope. I hope that one, impeachment is coming, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But two, that the next president really just does go, okay, we're going to pretend the last 2 years did not happen. Everything that was enacted, we're going to undo that, and we're just going to go back to Obama era January 2017 and try to survive whatever hiccups coming in the next 7 years or so. But to the topic though, so he rolled back the Obama allowance that transgender soldiers can serve. So if you want to serve and you are transgendered, you essentially have to stay in your gender of birth, not your gender of identity. And if you have openly now, because of this policy, announced yourself to be transgendered, you are now going to be forced out, most likely, depending on readiness. Because the other thing is, he announced that we're going to increase the role in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So it's going to be important.
But again, not no plan.
Right.
He kind of said, I have a plan, but I'm not telling you because I want to keep it a secret from the terrorists, which is always a surefire way of knowing you don't have a plan.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, so he.
Oh, I have a plan. I'm just not going to tell Rob about it because I don't want to ruin the surprise.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh yeah, you don't have a plan.
But essentially, what's going to happen, and he's looking. I guarantee you, he's got the same guys around him that were helping Bush, and all they're saying is just increase boots on the ground, and you need to say to the local Afghani people, if you don't want us to bomb you, then you need to take care of the terrorists. Because if we find out that there are terrorists, meaning Taliban members or Al-Qaeda members or anything in your town, we're just going to carpet bomb your whole town. And then we'll take care of the terrorists. Well, we're also going to kill 170 innocent people, but it's a price that we have to pay to kill the terrorists. So
remember, just for those who weren't following along closely when Afghanistan happened the first couple times, part of what caused the rise of ISIS and stuff like that was the fact that you were taking Taliban-controlled regions of Afghanistan and killing innocent civilians and killing people's families. And then they said, hey, this America isn't so great. They just went and killed my entire family. Yeah. I'm going to join an even more radical group and try and kill them.
Yeah, Al-Qaeda in 2001 was a direct development from our involvement in the Kuwait war in 1991.
Yeah, where we went in, took care of Saddam, and then bailed.
And then just basically we left our soldiers there on bases, but didn't do anything to improve the general area. But so here's where Trump's in a bit of a pickle, because we need as many soldiers as possible, because we're still kind of on the brink of an exchange in the Pacific. We have an ongoing war in Afghanistan. The Iraq War is over, except for the thousands of advisors that we have in Iraq, and
peacekeeping troops and
other peacekeepers that we have all around the world. In 97 countries, there are Americans serving right now. So, can you really say we're going to take 9% of the military and boot them out? Those are people who identify as gay, lesbian, or transgendered, or any number of other classifications that Trump just doesn't really seem to like. So we'll have to see how it actually plays out. But unfortunately, it looks like that if you are not about to go serve actively in a war zone, you're probably not going to not going to be serving in the military for very much longer. And I'd like to say that was the most ridiculous thing that we heard from Trump this week. But unfortunately, it's not.
No, not even close.
So another thing that happened was kind of at the midweek point. I can't even remember. It's been the longest week ever. That Trump was giving a speech in Phoenix.
Well, he gave a speech on Monday on Afghanistan.
Right.
Tuesday on Afghanistan, and then Wednesday in Phoenix.
Right.
A rally which also had counter protesters outside.
Very few, though. Very few protesters outside.
Very few people in the crowd. That's the...
Yeah. I love when they always send the opposite camera angles. Like, the room looks so full, and then, like, somebody's like, nope, it was this. They'll get all the empty space that you don't see. And he said there were so very few protesters. There was maybe 5,000 people inside the arena, probably 20,000 people outside the arena. Yeah. Protesting. Police broke it up with pepper spray and tear gas because that's what you do when it's 119 degrees.
By the way, we can only watch CNN. I'd watch other channels probably if I had the availability of other channels, but on the current TV package we have, CNN is it.
Or local news.
Or local.
Yeah.
Please, CNN, if there's pepper spray in the streets and police trying to move people out of the area, show that on television. I don't care about the 6 talking heads that you have surrounding Don Lemon,
who only talk one at a time for many minutes in a row,
and then just the rest of the time just sitting here, just staring at the screen. Nothing much, just polite nods. Every once in a while, you get one person who's like, "Oh," but that's it. I don't need.
That's right, Don. Yes, I don't. And why do we need so many damn heads on the screen? Like, literally, we were watching Don Lemon.
Just cut back and just have Don Lemon and just say, like, we're gonna go to Ann Navarro now.
Boom, and now Don and Ann, and then a screen of what's actually happening on the street that you're talking about. Ridiculous. I feel like we missed half the stuff because they're talking about what it is, and Don, you can see Don is watching it on the screen.
Right.
Because occasionally he'll like cut in like, oh, we're going to go live to so-and-so on the street in Phoenix because he sees something happening. Like, you see this thing, just put it on the TV so we can see it. It's ridiculous.
I mean, what's happening on the streets is way more interesting than whatever's happening in the studio.
Yeah.
I mean, people sitting there talking, looking directly into a camera is not exciting.
And guys, people across the country who have no real idea what's happening on the ground, they have an opinion, I'm sure, and some of them get real spicy. That chick from Baltimore was getting real spicy during her few minutes of it. But in the end, though, the big thing to come out of the Phoenix speech was how divisive it was. Once again, he quoted himself after Charlottesville, although quoted himself inaccurately, left out the parts where he talked about violence on many sides, and instead just wanted to talk about how I just can't do anything. They have fake news, fake media. They no matter what I do, they're going to find a problem with it, and blah blah blah. So in the end, I don't know what the president's trying to do. It also, by the way, one thing that was pointed out, I think, multiple times this week was really just that he doesn't know what to do when he's not campaigning. And that's what these rallies are about. And I know we say it a lot, but there was another guy who didn't really know how to govern and just kept continually campaigning because it rallies the base and it gets people fired up. He was in Germany in 1936. Like, these are the things that we have to look out for.
Everything's about Nazis nowadays.
Well, that's because there's literal Nazis marching in the street. I don't know what you want me to do. But no, in the end, like, he has maybe 25% support in America right now, and he's trying to make those people seem like they are a majority, and they're not. And the only way he can continue to do this is to continue to hold these rallies where he fires people up, acts divisively, and if that rally wasn't enough in Phoenix, 2 days later, he pardons Sheriff Joe.
Before we get to that, a couple things about the Phoenix speech. First of all, he chides the media for how they covered Charlottesville.
Oh, and then also he goes for taking him off. We watched him on CNN, chide CNN for not carrying it live anymore while we were watching live.
Right. He also spent a good portion of the time talking to the crowd about like everything he said, word for word, except for the words that were getting him in trouble.
Yes.
He was like, I told everybody I don't like Nazis. I don't like white supremacists. I said they're bad people.
Yeah.
And then he didn't even touch on both sides or fine people or any of that.
And he's like, he points out that like I gave this statement 3 days later. 3 days. Oh, it's not in time. But that's the whole point. Yeah. The whole point was you didn't say it on the day of.
Yeah.
You gave a little wink to your guys, and then 3 days later you're like,
all of them, by the way, are going like, oh no, Trump still loves us. He had to throw in a little like, fuck these guys. We get it.
That's why he waited 3 days.
Yeah.
He waited 3 days because he knew he had to say it, but he wasn't going to say it at that time.
Yeah.
And most of those guys are watching CNN from a jail cell now, so that's all good.
The other part, which ties into Joe Arpaio.
Yeah.
He there was questions as to whether or not he would pardon him from the stage.
Yeah.
And he mentioned him on stage.
He did.
He said, oh, they don't want me to do anything with Joe Arpaio, but I think he'll be okay. He'll be okay. I'm taking care of it. Yeah. What? And then I would have actually rather him done it then.
Yeah.
Because
make it a show.
Then he could have explained himself a little bit.
Right.
And listen, there are reasons to be upset about Joe Arpaio on both sides of the aisle. Obviously, if you are in like human rights or treating people with dignity, then you're upset with Joe Arpaio because of the way he handled his essentially prison camp.
Yeah, not racially concentration camp.
Yeah,
not racially profiling people is another reason to hate him.
Right.
Not liking when powerful people target members of the media, political people who piss them off, or anyone else.
Right.
Yeah, it's he literally is like the worst human being ever.
Right. Listen, here's the double-edged sword that comes with Joe Arpaio. Everything he did is terrible and should have resulted in him getting locked up for some of it.
Yes.
Probably multiple times for like multiple different offenses. But a little known fact, sheriffs live pretty much like law doesn't apply to them.
Yeah.
Because there's not many people who can actually charge a sheriff with a crime.
Federal law only can come in usually. Not even the states usually have power over, because your local state's attorney has a hard time charging the local sheriff because they have to continue to work with the police department. Like Commissioner Davis will never get charged.
And because Arpaio in Arizona had pretty good numbers.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't want to go up against him and charge him.
I have to
even if it was a crime.
I have to run for re-election at some point.
Yeah, and the same people who are going to be voting for me are the ones who will vote for him
and be on his jury. When he inevitably requests a jury trial.
Right. However, the Obama administration did fuck up badly by allowing the Justice Department to get him with the what was it? The actual charge they got him with. Obstruction? Yeah.
Obstruction. No, wait, no. Contempt. Criminal contempt.
Yeah. They charged him with contempt right before an election, like right as they were on their way out the door.
Yeah.
None of that looked good from a politics standpoint.
But the timing...
all the Republicans being able to go out and say, well, it was a political prosecution and it's a political pardon, is all very true, but at the same time, you lose any amount of high ground if you try and sneak it in while the hurricane is happening.
Right. On a Friday news dump when
Trump doesn't have a FEMA director.
Right.
Trump hasn't allocated any aid to Texas.
Cut aid to FEMA. Didn't give aid to North Carolina when they had a hurricane.
They don't have anybody in emergency management.
Right. Yeah.
They're just completely flat-footed on one of the most major hurricanes that have hit American soil in
a decade.
Yeah, since Sandy.
And
he's taking this opportunity to just try and sneak through the Arpaio part. It's cowardly.
And people are calling it political. I don't call it political. It's the time frame of what worked out. There was a civil litigation that ended in 2015. A few months later, he was charged criminally. They came to an agreement, and he took a plea. Then he went to jail. And that happened to be at the time of an election. And the Justice Department does not serve the president. It's independent of the president. It's meant to serve the American people. Now, it's not.
Oh,
really
yeah. I
doing
totally
that now.
forgot about that when Jeff Sessions is leading the Justice Department right now.
Well, I mean, now it's a hit squad for the government. A few episodes ago, we talked about how they are getting anti-Trump people's information.
Yeah, but the Justice Department has been politicized for quite some time now. It's supposed to be a separate identity, but you can't convince anybody that Loretta Lynch or Eric Holder weren't uber political.
Well, that's because
Justice Department heads.
They were black, and they were defending black people and making sure that racist police departments weren't allowed to just kill black people. So, of course, it's political. Couldn't be about civil rights, which is what that department's supposed to be.
Well, I mean, there were other things too. It wasn't just
like what? Going after churches and religious organizations who were flouting taxes when they weren't really
a church or religious organization.
Yeah. I mean, not Scientology. They clearly are a religion and they got their tax stuff. But no, I mean, it's easy to call anything political when you don't like the person who is doing the thing. Just like it's really easy to call things not music when you don't like the person who's performing it. But that's a whole different thing.
We'll have to save that for some week. There's going to be nothing that happens. And I think we're just gonna burn through that
talk
one.
Music. But you did bring up the hurricane, and of course we have been following over the last few days the hurricane impending on Texas. I don't know. I mean, we have friends who have family there, but I don't think we know anybody directly who lives in South Texas.
I know a couple people in Texas, mostly in Houston,
right?
Which isn't like in the direct impact area. I mean, it's certainly within the totality of the storm, but it's not like in the hardest hit regions.
Yeah.
I do big ups for Facebook, by the way, on the I'm safe notifications, because I woke up this morning, I saw a couple of people that I know there who said that they were safe, and it made me feel better. Like, because I'm sure before you would just get 1,000 messages from all your friends,
right? Yeah, but
going is everything okay?
Now you can be the proactive one to let everybody know.
Right. I'm okay. I'm good.
And that's good. And Facebook, for as evil a corporation as it is, there are some good things that they're bringing us together. And, I mean, for 3 or 4 minutes on Monday, we all stared up at the sun and forgot about all of this bullshit that was going on. But
Trump staring directly into the sun.
Jesus Christ. But, so I think my concern with the hurricane is not the storm's going to be terrible. It's going to decimate. I think that there was, at our start recording time, there was one death from somebody who said, almost predictably, I'm not leaving. I've never left. I won't leave this time. And then they die in the storm. Guys, just get out.
Yeah.
But another story I saw this week was
there's just as many. I mean, I almost have a hard time counting something like that as like a death of the storm, because I mean, like that's the same guy who's just like, I bet I can jump this car when it's rolling at me. Like,
yeah. Like, you come and I will jump.
You drive your car 35 miles an hour at me and I'll jump over it.
It's got to be exactly 35. Yeah. And then when he gets hit, he's like, were you at 38? Were you at 38?
I know you were at 37.
Yeah. But no, so, I mean, there has been one death, so that is unfortunate. But you have to get out of the way of the storm. That being said, there was a story that ICE is doing roadblock checkpoints in Texas as people were trying to flee the storm. To basically, a police officer would walk up to your car and ask for your papers, which is ridiculous. Like, you are endangering people's lives because we have this policy now that we are trying to boot out 20 million people. Well, here's a great way to do it. When they're fleeing for their lives from a hurricane, if they can't produce citizenship papers, we're just going to kick you out.
Yeah, send them back to Mexico. That seems like a fair...
Either die in a hurricane, try to survive a hurricane, a Category 4 hurricane hitting your house, or risk getting sent back to Mexico. That's a great exchange. I'm so glad that that's the country that we live in now. But the storm, by the time you guys hear this, the storm will have receded. We'll have to see.
There is supposed to be like 5 days of like torrential rain that follows. So it's like not like...
It's going to be the flooding more than...
Yeah, the flooding's going to cause more of the trouble than the actual storm, it seems like, at this point.
And the one interesting thing that I think is in my mentality is we in Maryland didn't get that many hurricanes, but what we would get is the tropical remnants of it that would then downpour 5 or 6 days later.
Right.
And so it's weird to be here now and just be like, oh, well, I guess we're going to get rain in a couple of days. Like, nope, no, it's going the other way. No more rainy days. We're not going to have any of that. So.
But when like Sandy hit, that was...
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
But we Well, we'll keep track. But like I said, it's going to be a few days past by the time you guys hear this on Tuesday. So we'll have to see what the full outcome from the storm is. But what we will know is that I really hope that Kanye gets on TV again and has another opportunity to say Donald Trump doesn't care about black people, because that would just be redundant, Kanye. I don't know if you're watching TV or not. But yeah. But a couple
and then
other...
Trump minutes later gets on TV. He's like, "Yep,
Kanye
knows me well."
Kanye. I mean, we talked a lot before the campaign.
And then it's gonna be 5 straight days of coverage on CNN going like, Trump admitted to not caring about black people, and then all of his supporters going like, "Well, yeah, of course he doesn't care about. I don't care about black people. Why should he?"
Fox News making yeah. Well, I mean, does the president have to care about black people? They're only 20% of the population.
The start of Sean Hannity, where it's just like, why is it against the crime not to hate people?
I think you already did that this week.
I'm allowed to have my own personal problems with certain people.
As long as it doesn't creep into his job as president, does it really matter that he doesn't care about
Sean Hannity? People? I don't hate black people because they're black. I hate them because that they're
poor.
Thugs and poor.
and thugs. I hate them because they're thugs. So
every single one of them. There's not a single one who's not a thug. I'm going to put them all under that blanket.
So we've been talking over the last few months about the eventual fallout from Mueller's special counsel investigation. And we got a bit of good news, at least I consider it good news, this week, which is that part of the... I don't think it's part of the official Mueller investigation, but it's the parallel media investigations that are running along with Mueller's investigation, has uncovered that the GOP took $7 million from the same Russian oligarchs that are alleged to be involved with Trump right now.
Yeah.
So if you've been following along, I don't know, episode 165 to now, we've been talking about the line of succession and how it just gets worse and worse as you go along.
Yeah.
President Trump gets impeached. He's out. That leaves us with President Pence. But likely President Pence is probably involved.
Tied up with whatever.
And so he's out. But that takes us to President Ryan. Oh, but thanks to the story this week, we learned that Paul Ryan is one of the people who took millions of dollars from a Russian autocrat,
right?
Who's now involved in the administration and may lead to the downfall of this administration. So, good news.
So there goes President Ryan.
And that takes us to President of the pro temp of the Senate, Orrin Hatch, who, again, and I will repeat what we've said before, it's a good sign. I mean, Orrin Hatch may be the one guy who I would like to see in a line of succession. Because after him, it goes to the cabinet in level of creation or in order of creation of the departments. Rex Tillerson does not need to be president of the United States.
Nor Betsy DeVos does not need to be president.
No. None of the Flynn's
Carson or Rick Perry or Sessions or
none of these people need to be
Mnuchin.
President. Yeah. And the new interior guy who is like just an out and out racist, and the guy who's ahead of the FDA who doesn't have any experience with food at all. Like these are not people who need to be in the highest office of the land. So Orrin Hatch is our savior because, as I've said before, I do think that if the conspiracy was that deep and it was starting to take out members of Congress,
and I honestly believe that Orrin Hatch. If 4 people in the line of succession all fell at the same time and Orrin Hatch became president, I'd have to imagine that he would be like, listen, guys, this isn't what I signed up for. Yeah. This is not what I'm here for. Yeah. But I am going to try and be the calming force that we're taking politics out of it for a minute, and we're just going to try and get to the next election.
Yeah, I don't think he would do that.
You don't think so? No, you don't think he would?
I think he would call new elections immediately.
You think?
Yeah, I think that if it got down to 4th in the line of succession and he was thinking like, if it's not me, it's one of these jokers.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on where we are in terms of an election. Like if it's
the end of the year, which is what it's looking like right now. If we get to the end of 2017, we are 3 years from an election.
He'd probably call a new one.
Yeah. And even if it was in the fall, like in 2018, and we're looking at midterm elections, I think he would just say, we're going to call a new election, and this fall you're going to be voting for your congressman and a two-year presidency. And then we'll get back on track next time.
I'd like to bring up another thing.
And you have the president take the oath of office on January the 25th. so that whoever won that 2-year term could run again and win 2 additional terms. You know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't be eliminated by the 25th Amendment to run 3 times.
Yeah.
Because he would have more than that term. It's the Teddy Roosevelt of presidencies, essentially. Yeah.
Well, Teddy only did 1.5.
Right, but he took office just after the halfway point.
Yeah.
So even if the 25th Amendment had been in place, he could have theoretically run and.
Well, I mean, like, he could have run as many times as he wanted to, because FDR came after him and ran 4 times.
But like looking at that as he was one of the presidents who took there's a little bit.
I mean, like, so Teddy's thing was that he took 2 years of McKinley's term,
right,
and then 1 term of his own.
Well, he took
and then
like
said
a year and 11 months.
Right, but claimed that he in his heart he felt that the term that he had taken over from McKinley was his first term. Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, but in the end, we have a lot of examples. He
had 6 years as opposed to 8 or 12, or 8 or 10.
We have a lot of examples of like William Henry Harrison, who dies 36 days after taking office, and then his vice president gets basically a full term and then one of his own. We have some examples of guys who died in the last year of their presidency. John Kennedy would have run for re-election in the fall of '64, so that would have been 1 year later. So Johnson got a year plus 2 months, like a year plus the election. Election time. But then you have this weird thing with Teddy, who was almost exactly halfway through. That was my point. Is that you just have them get inaugurated late, have Orrin Hatch stay on until like March or just late January, and then say, okay, that way you can run twice of your own accord, and you get to finish this abomination of a term that we've had to kick everybody out.
By the way, I just since we have a little bit of time here, I thought I would bring this up. Did you hear about the court case regarding Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the DNC?
No.
Just came out. First, I read about it today.
Okay.
So the judgment of people who just to fill you in, Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the Democratic National Committee rigged the election for Hillary to win.
Yes. That has been made clear.
Some supporters of Bernie, I think in Arizona or something like that, somewhere where they could sue.
That was one of the states.
Yeah. People who gave money to Bernie Sanders made a class action and sued the DNC and Debbie Wasserman Schultz in Arizona.
Good.
And the verdict came back essentially. Well, I mean, not a verdict, but the judge came back and said, "Listen, I can't actually take this case and go forward with it and actually give you a judgment because, technically speaking, when you give money to a candidate, you're not doing it in hopes that it like goes to something in particular.
Right.
You're giving it to them to use, not to go towards specific things. So if you give money to a candidate and they're hosed by somebody else, there's no damages here.
Right. Because they come to you and they say, hey, we want to run a TV campaign. Right. But the dollars you give just go in the war chest.
It's not specifically towards something.
Yeah, we need to raise $50,000 tonight so we can run a TV campaign. But in the end, they have the money. They've already paid for the TV campaign.
Yeah.
Your money is to fund the thing that happens after that.
Right.
So, yeah.
But because there isn't actual damages, they can't actually like go through with the case. But essentially, the judge put out that the DNC absolutely rigged the election. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was absolutely involved, and I would like to make a point. We've talked a lot about in court cases before there not being actual damages to award.
Yeah,
I would make the argument that Donald Trump as president is damages that can be awarded to the people who sued in this class action.
True.
Because if it weren't for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the DNC, and Hillary Clinton, we would have a Bernie as a candidate.
But that might will kill you. Because your but-for test has to be absolute. So, but for what they did, Trump would not be president. You cannot certify that would be the case.
Right.
Because every poll in August of 2016 said that, well, she screwed Bernie, but she's still up by 10 points nationwide.
Yeah.
So there's no way for a judge to say that Bernie would have absolutely won, and therefore there's damages.
I honestly believe Bernie would have won.
I agree with you, but
I think Bernie wouldn't have given up any of the
I hate Hillary.
Well,
I hate Hillary people.
And it's so funny. My mom, who's like the most like accepting of us all,
Right.
Was just like, I don't think. Do you think they'd really vote for a Jewish guy? I'm just like, wow. I never really thought. I thought we were past this. I thought we were just like.
Well,
but apparently it is
Catholic,
something that's like,
just as bad.
Yeah. I was just like, that's so weird. Like that would even pop into somebody's head.
But to be fair, like I think
though,
Bernie,
I guess the events in Charlottesville prove that we're not past that part
but
yet.
Those guys are not voting for a Democrat no matter what.
Right.
Unless it's 1960, because you guys don't understand how history works. I do love that. Like, all these Confederate statues were put up by Democrats. What? Yes, but they were Democrats who were whites who hated black people, and everything switched. That's how it worked. Anyway.
And also the South is the big.
Yeah.
The area that was the Confederacy and Democrats is Republicans today.
That's how you can tell. You can tell it wasn't as if the parties switched. Like, it was in the North, the Democrats in the North on the coast were putting up Confederate statues.
Yeah.
That's not how it was working back then. But no, so the thing is that I think that for most Democrats, Bernie is such a Woody Allen Jewish guy that it's almost like we forget that he's Jewish. It's just like, oh, no, he's a New Yorker. He's like, Woody Allen is Jewish.
Yeah.
But he's almost just like,
he's also like so stereotypically New York.
Yeah, that you're just like, oh, okay. And Bernie's from Vermont. He's from New York originally.
From New York,
but you're coming from Vermont. But I think that it's just like, no, I mean, is he Jewish? I mean, he's from New York. Clearly he's from New York. But I don't know if he's Jewish or not. And I mean, I think that's where it would fall eventually. I don't think that people would care about voting for a Jewish guy more than they would care more about hating Hillary and not voting for her than they would voting for a Jewish guy from New York who then went to Vermont.
Yeah.
Who just wants you to be able to smoke pot and
I just
marry your people you want.
I'm so like I feel like I'm going to be angrier and angrier about Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the DNC the further away we get from it. Like,
well, the more Trump does, you're just like, you bitch.
I feel like any news story could have just been followed by like, oh, we could have had President Bernie Sanders, but y'all fucked that up.
Thanks, guys.
Trump said transgenders can't serve in the military anymore. We could have had Bernie Sanders, but fuck you guys.
Yeah. And by the way, like I really hate the people who are like, all those people who stayed home for Hillary and Hillary could have won, blah, blah. Don't blame the people who wouldn't vote for Hillary.
Yeah.
Blame the party that rigged the system so Hillary was the candidate.
Yeah,
because you know what? Those people who voted for Hillary would have still voted for Bernie. But all the people who felt gypped by the people by the party.
That's the thing that always kind of like alarms me. The people who are like, like, I can't believe you died on your Bernie Hill and you didn't go vote for, like, I wouldn't have done that. Like,
yeah.
It's not like I was like a super diehard Bernie guy. I just thought that where he was coming from was a place of common sense for the most part.
Yeah.
Sometimes he was a little bit too idealistic for me, but I figured that if he got elected, he would be, the Republicans would keep him down enough so that none of his truly
Robert ideals wouldn't come through.
None of his truly like crazy socialist ideas would poke through that much. Like,
right. Because they would have probably still won the House and the Senate.
Yeah.
So it would just be 2 years of nothing getting done. But now they have the House and the Senate and the White House, and nothing's getting done.
Did you ever read that 538 article about like what if Hillary won?
No.
Or where we would be right now if Hillary won?
Well, I mean, we'd still be fighting a war in Afghanistan. We'd probably still be fronting off against North Korea.
It was so funny. It was really interesting too because they made the argument that if Hillary had won, then we would still. It would probably still be bad because she might have had to give up so much political capital to just get like Merrick Garland through or someone like that.
Yeah.
Because the Republicans showed if Clinton had won, they would have just continued the same line of thought they did, not giving Merrick Garland a hearing, saying like, "Oh, people really don't want Merrick Garland." It's like even though Clinton won, she would have to give them something to be able to get Merrick Garland.
Yeah. And now you're 1 month in and you've burned all the political capital on a SCOTUS appointee. And then you really, nothing gets done. And the thing is, that's what it comes down to. Hillary as president is almost exactly the same as Trump as president. Yeah. Now, more sane person at the helm. Absolutely.
I mean, we're certainly not having weekly conversations about
no. But by the same token, I mean, yes, because the podcast would be probably less interesting because we'd be talking about random stuff that happened during the week. It would be the most boring administration ever because the only thing we talk about is how nothing's getting done. Like the President Clinton is trying to do stuff, but no votes. Yeah. They went to August recess 2 weeks early instead of going 2 weeks late or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like just nothing would be getting done. But and a saner person at the helm, but essentially it's the same thing.
Yeah.
This is the problem, that the election of 2016, after they rigged it so that Bernie wouldn't win, was a Baltimore City election, just 2 Republicans instead of 2 Democrats.
Yeah.
Hillary is, in fact, a centrist/Republican.
But I mean, like, I almost feel like it's not fair to tie Trump in with Republicans either.
Well, you know, he's to the extreme right. It's two people on the right.
See, but at this point, I almost don't feel like Trump is even a Republican.
Well, I mean, but he's on the right. Conservatives are on the right.
Right, but I mean, like, he's not like if you gave Trump truth serum,
yeah,
and said, "How do you really feel about?" I think he's just he's voting for his wallet.
Right, but that is just what Republicans do. Conservatives are all about fuck poor people. Let's make more money.
Did you see the Secret Service ran out of money?
Yeah, because it's all the vacations. And by the way, also, the amount of money they're paying to Trump himself is ridiculous.
This is something that I think everyone should take a look at. Let this be our parting shot here. The Secret Service by law is required if they need to take office space or something like that.
Yeah.
Or if they need to they've done this before with presidential homes.
Yeah.
So what was it, Katy, Texas, where W was?
Yeah.
So in Katy, Texas, they had to buy the property from the owners who lived next to W.
Right.
Because they needed to make a command center.
That was and W, but to his credit, W thought that selling part of his property to the government would be a violation of the emoluments clause. He didn't want to enrich himself. So instead,
oh, those days.
Instead, what they did was go to the neighbor and overpay for.
I think technically speaking, they had to spend like 120% of the value of the property or something like that to
buy the neighbors little bit of the neighbors.
It's essentially eminent domain.
Yes. But I don't think they used eminent domain. They just went in there.
Well, I mean, it's the same principle as eminent domain, where they go in and they say like, hey, listen, we need this property, but under normal eminent domain, where we just give you whatever we fucking feel like.
Yes.
This one is like, we figured out what the value of your property is, and it's $1 million. So we're going to pay you $1.2 million for your property.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you have to accept.
Well, and oh, by the way, it's to protect the president who clearly you voted for because you're from Texas. So,
right.
I mean, and you live next door to the guy.
Yeah. I hate that motherfucker.
Well, to be fair, I guess maybe the only people in Texas who don't vote for him are the guys who are like, is he chainsawing at 4 o'clock in the morning again? God damn it.
The thing I like about it is that they have to pay like the fair or above and beyond the fair price if they're purchasing land. If they're renting, they have to pay whatever the rent is. You can't put it down. And then Trump raised the rent in Trump Tower for the ones that the Secret Service were going to take in. So remember all this talk about how guarding the Trump family and Trump Tower was costing as much as it took
$400,000 a month.
Yeah, like what it was like for 4 months of Obama or something like that.
Yeah.
Was every month at Trump Tower. It's because Trump raised, or probably not Trump himself, but rather like Eric Trump or Trump Jr. or something.
Well, because they've separated the business.
Yeah, clearly they're not. They don't know what the other one's doing anymore.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Raised the price for the Secret Service an
By the way,
outrageous amount.
My favorite factoid from the Trump administration: they have now spent $35,000 on golf carts at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
To rent golf carts at Mar-a-Lago, you, American taxpayers, have paid $35,000.
Yeah.
Because the president likes to golf every weekend. And he can't go just anywhere. He only goes to his own resort.
Because they have to pay the prices at the...
Right.
Secret Service can't be walking around the golf course.
Right. Well, and that, actually, they probably can, but the one the president rides in, the Secret Service pays for.
Yeah.
So when Trump's like, I'd like my own cart, and let's get the Chinese ambassador's own cart, and the French premier's own cart, and all of these are just adding up.
Yeah.
And the Secret Service pays. So the Secret Service is out of money.
And Trump could easily just say, I own these carts.
Yeah.
Let's just take them.
He could.
Yeah.
Now,
but instead, he's charging the government.
The Secret Service would object because they would say, no, we have to pay for them, whatever. But the policy of the resort could be that, for VIP guests, we give you 2 carts for free, which is probably actually what they do.
Yeah.
But Trump's like, no, we'll pay for all of them. Thank you. Yes, we'll pay for all of them. But their Secret Service is out of money. And maybe I'm not so upset about it. Maybe that's just what I'm saying. Maybe them being broke, them having to lay off agents, maybe a few less body men. Maybe it's not a bad thing. That's, impeachment's one way to go. That's what I'm saying. Impeachment's one way to go.
Let's leave it there.
You thought you were getting out of here easy this week.
I think we're dangerously close to the worst Rob has possibly.
Wait, I didn't say anything. I know exactly what I'm saying and what I'm not saying.
You want to see where you can find the worst of Rob? OhTheAnthem.com. Corey at OhTheAnthem.com. Oh, The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595.
And you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com, where you can find links to my political blog, foundingthefuture.us, the news websites, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
By Rob's Books.
And make sure you check out my YouTube page, because hopefully we're going to have some more stuff. We got to get some stuff written and shot. But hopefully we'll have some more stuff coming up there.
We're almost there.
Cool.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I think we done good there. Good to hear today.
Especially the last part, right? Yeah, is that what you're agreeing
Everything
with?
but the last part.
Okay.
I thought we were having a nice little freestyle conversation on Bernie and Hillary and Trump, and then you had to go and sully it.
I'm not going to talk politics at all tonight, all right? Listen, impeachment's the one way to go. That's all I'm saying. It's one way to go. Well, we've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the Oh, The Anthem podcast, part of the Oh, The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
On the way out, because we didn't do it earlier, what's your call on the fight?
I'm calling McGregor in 9.
McGregor in 9. I'm going McGregor in 3. Fuck Vegas.
Woo!